Let yourself grow still now. There is nothing more for you to do tonight. The day is behind you, finished, whether it was a good day or a hard one, and it does not need you anymore. You can set it down, the way you would set down a heavy load at the end of a long climb. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands grow loose and open. Let your breath slow and deepen and grow quiet, like wind settling over still water at the end of the day. Listen, the story I will tell you tonight is very old and very slow, and it asks nothing of you but that you rest. You do not need to remember it. You do not need to follow every word or hold on to a single name. The words are only a soft road for you to walk down until you fall asleep. And you are welcome to fall asleep at any time. Whenever your mind begins to drift, let it drift. Whenever your thoughts wander away from my voice, let them wander. That is exactly what is meant to happen here. Tonight, we go up and we go back, up into the high country, where the air is thin and clean and the mountains stand in their long blue ranges against the sky. Up to a wide and ancient lake that lies cradled among the peaks, so high that the clouds drift below you and the stars seem close enough to touch. The people of that high country called the Lake Titicaca, and they said that the world itself began there, in the dark, before there was any light at all. So go back with me now, back before the first city was built of stone. Back before the first field was planted, back before the first person ever lifted their eyes to the morning. Go back to a time when the high lake lay black and still beneath a black and empty sky. There was no sun yet, there was no moon, and there were no stars. There was only the dark, lying soft and patient over the water and the mountains, waiting. The way the world waits in the last hour before dawn. Imagine that darkness for a moment, the way you might imagine the inside of your own closed eyes. It was not a frightening dark. It was a calm and waiting dark, deep and gentle, with the cold, clean smell of high mountain water in it, and the great silent shapes of the peaks standing all around. Nothing stirred, nothing called. The lake lay still as polished stone, holding the empty sky upon its surface, and everything that would one day become the world lay folded in that quiet, sleeping, waiting to be made. And in the deep water of the lake, in the oldest dark, there was one who would make it all. The people had a name for him. They called him Viracocha. He was the maker, the shaper, the one who would rise from the dark water and breathe the world into being. But he had not risen yet. He lay deep and still in the cold quiet of the lake, gathering himself, in no hurry at all. Let that be the first gift this old story gives you tonight. There was no hurry at the beginning of the world. The Maker took his time. He did not rush to rise. He rested first, deep in the dark water, gathering his strength in the long quiet before the first light. And so, tonight, may you. There is no hurry now. There is only the dark and the still water, and the slow gathering of rest. Notice your breath as you lie here, the slow rise and the slow fall of it, like the gentle swell of the great lake in the dark. You do not have to deepen it or slow it on purpose. Simply let it be and watch it, the way you might watch the soft movement of water from a quiet shore. With each breath out, let a little more of the day go. With each breath in, let a little more of the dark settle softly over you, deep and clean and cool, like the air of the high country at night. There is nowhere you need to be. There is nothing you need to do. There is only here and now, and the quiet, and the slow rocking of your own calm breath in the dark before the world. Stay a while in that darkness with me. We are in no rush to bring the light. Picture the high lake again, lying among the mountains under a sky with no stars in it. The water is cold and deep and utterly still. If you could stand at its edge in that first dark, you would hear nothing at all. No bird, no wind, no voice, only the great, soft silence of a world that has not yet begun. The peaks stand all around like sleeping giants, their snow invisible in the blackness, their long slopes falling down to the black mirror of the water. And over everything lies the dark, soft as a blanket, patient as stone. The old tellers of this country said that there had been a world before this one, a first and earlier age, but that it had passed away and that this was the long quiet between. So the dark over the lake was not an empty dark only. It was a resting dark, a between dark, the deep pause of a world breathing out before it breathes in again. And in that pause, beneath the still black water, Viracocha lay, the maker, waiting for the time to rise. There was a softness to that waiting. Down in the deep water, it was cold and dark and silent, but it was not a fearful place. It was a place of gathering. Think of how a seed lies in the dark earth through the long winter, asking for nothing, simply holding within itself the whole green promise of the spring. That was how the Maker lay in the lake. Within him was folded everything that would come, the sun and the moon, the stars and the seasons, the mountains and the valleys, and all the people who would one day walk the high green country and lift their faces to the light. All of it slept inside him, in the dark, waiting. Perhaps you know that feeling, just a little. In the last soft minutes before sleep, the feeling of holding the whole next day folded somewhere within you, but not yet, not now. The feeling of resting in the dark before anything is asked of you. You do not have to make the morning yet. You do not have to rise. You only have to lie still in the warm dark and let the morning gather itself in its own slow time, far off, beyond the edge of sleep. And there was nothing he needed to do all that long while but wait. He did not have to hurry the dawn. He did not have to make himself ready before the time was right. The world would tell him when it was time. The way the slow turning of the seasons tells the seed when it is time to wake and rise. Until then, there was only the deep water and the dark and the patient gathering and the great calm of a thing that knows it does not have to force its own beginning. It will come when it comes. It always does. And the lake held him. And the dark held the lake, and the mountains held the dark for an age too long to measure. There was no day to count, because there was no sun to make a day. There was no week, no month, no year. There was only the one long, deep quiet, the great patient pause before the first light, and in it the Maker rested and gathered and waited, in no hurry at all. But every pause comes at last to its ending. Every long dark breath is followed, slowly, by the breath that comes after. And so, deep in the still water of the high lake, after an age of waiting, Viracocha began, very gently, to stir. Not with any sudden thing, not with alarm, only with the faintest first movement, like the first stir of someone at the far edge of waking, the body beginning to remember that it is time, soon, to rise. There was no fear in that first stirring, and no urgency. It was the slow, sure movement of one who has rested long enough and knows, deep down, that the time has come. Think of how you wake on a morning when nothing is asked of you. No alarm, no hurry. Only the soft, natural surfacing from sleep, the slow remembering of where you are and that you are warm and safe. That was how the Maker stirred in the deep water, gently, certainly in his own good time, with the whole patience of the unmade world folded around him. Do not rise with him. Let him do the rising for both of you. You stay here, in the warm dark, held and still and asking for nothing while the story carries on without needing you to lift a hand or open an eye. So the time came at last, in the deepest dark before the dawn of all dawns, when the Maker rose. He came up slowly through the cold black water of the lake, rising the way a thought rises from the deep of the mind, without hurry, without sound, and the still surface of Titicaca, that had lain unbroken for an age, parted softly around him, and the dark water ran from his shoulders. And Viracocha rose up out of the lake and stood upon its surface, beneath the empty starless sky, in the first dark of the new world. The old tellers pictured him as a tall figure, grave and gentle, robed in white, with a long beard and a staff in his hand, and a face full of patience and quiet sorrow and love. He stood upon the water as easily as you might stand upon the ground, and he looked out across the high country in the dark, across the lake and the silent mountains and the wide black plains beyond, and he saw that it was all there, all waiting, all formless and dark and unmade, and he knew that it was time to begin. But he did not rush. Feel that as you lie here. The Maker had risen at last, after an age of waiting, and still he did not rush. He stood a long, quiet moment upon the dark water, taking in the great waiting world, gathering himself for the gentle work ahead. There was no haste in him, and no strain. He was a Maker who loved what he made, and one who loves their work does not hurry it. He lets it come slowly and rightly and with care. The first thing the world needed, Viracocha knew, was light. For the dark was deep, and the world could not be made or seen in it. And the people who would one day come could not walk in a world with no light to walk by. So the Maker lifted his face to the black and empty sky, that wide, dark dome with no sun and no moon and no single star in all its reach, and he made ready to fill it. But that is the next part of the story, and there is no need to come to it yet. For now, simply hold the picture of the Maker standing upon the still, dark lake, the water beneath his feet, the mountains all around, the empty sky above, and the deep, patient calm of one who has waited a long age and risen at last and is ready, in his own slow time, to begin to make a world out of love. And as he stood there, the old teller said, a great tenderness was in him for the world he was about to make. He did not look upon the dark and empty country as a builder looks upon bare ground, thinking only of the work. He looked upon it the way you might look upon a sleeping child, with love for what it will become, with care for every part of it before any part of it yet existed. The mountains he would shape, the rivers he would set running, the people he would wake and lead home, all of them were dear to him already, there in the dark, before the first of them was made. That was the kind of Maker he was. He made out of love, and slowly and with care. And that is why the world he made is a gentle world, and a beautiful one, and a good place in which to rest. Let that calm be your calm now. You have risen, in your way, through all the long day, and now the day is done, and you are standing, as it were, at the still edge of your own dark water, ready to sink back down into rest. there is no work left for you tonight. The making belongs to the maker. Your part is only to watch, and to soften, and to drift, while the world is made gently around you in the dark. So Viracocha lifted his face to the empty sky, and he set himself to the making of the lights. The old tellers said that he did this slowly and with great care, the way you might set candles, one by one, around a dark room, so that each new flame pushes the shadow back a little further. First, he turned to the high island that stood in the great lake, a place the people would hold sacred ever after. And there, the teller said, the work of the heavens began, for it was from that place, in the heart of Titicaca, that the Maker called the lights up into the sky. First, he made the sun. He gathered light somehow, out of his own will and his own warmth, and he set it rising into the eastern sky, and the people called it Inti. Imagine that first sunrise, the very first that ever was, in a world that had known only darkness since before time, the black rim of the eastern mountains slowly paling, a faint gray light spreading along the ridges, then a soft, warm glow, gold and rose, brimming up behind the peaks, and then the sun itself, round and golden and gentle, lifting clear of the mountains and pouring its first warm light down across the high country, across the lake, across the long blue ranges, waking the colors of the world for the very first time. The white of the snow, the deep blue of the water, the soft brown and green of the plains, all of it, which had lain hidden in the dark, now shining softly in the first light of Inti, the sun. And then the Maker made the moon to rule the night and to give a softer, cooler light when the sun had gone down. He set it rising pale and silver into the dark, and across the sky behind the sun, gentle and quiet, a second light, a watching light for the hours of rest. The old tellers told a tender thing about the moon and the sun, that at the very first, the moon shone even more brightly than the sun, so bright that the sun grew jealous and threw a handful of ash across the moon's bright face to dim it. And that, they said, was why the moon ever after wore those soft, gray shadows upon its silver, the marks you can still see on any clear night, the faint, dark patterns on the face of the moon. A small and gentle story to explain a small and gentle thing. And last, the Maker made the stars. He scattered them across the whole dark dome of the night, the countless small silver lights, strewn like seed across a black field, like a handful of bright dust flung wide across the dark. He set them in their patterns and their slow-turning paths, the bright ones and the faint ones, the long rivers of them that pour across the highest, clearest skies. And the people of the high country, who lived nearer to the stars than almost anyone, would come to know them all, and name them, and read the turning of the seasons in their slow wheeling overhead. So the empty sky was filled. Where there had been only darkness, now there was the warm gold sun to rule the day, and the pale silver moon to watch the night, and the countless scattered stars to turn slowly to the dark. The Maker had pushed back the great darkness, light by light, and now the world had light to be seen by, and warmth to grow by, and the slow turning of day and night and season to live by. And there was such a deep rightness in the order of it, the lights coming each in their turn. First, the great gold sun to rule the bright hours and warm the growing world. Then the soft silver moon to rule the dark hours and watch over the time of rest. And then the countless stars to fill the spaces between, so that even in the deepest night there would never again be a darkness wholly without light. The Maker had thought of everything. He had made a day to work in and a night to rest in, a sun to wake by and a moon to sleep by. And he had set them turning in their slow and faithful round, so that the world would have its rhythm, its breathing in and breathing out, its waking and its sleeping, forever. Let that warmth settle softly over you now. The sun is made, and the moon and all the stars, the long dark before the world is over, and the same lights still hang in your sky tonight, the very ones the Maker set there in the beginning. The sun that warmed your day now gone down, the moon at your window, the stars turning slow and patient over the roof above you. You rest beneath the Maker's lights, the oldest lights there are, and they will keep their watch over you through all the quiet hours of the night. Now the world had light and warmth, and the slow turning of its days, but it was still empty. The mountains stood gold and blue in the new sun, but no one climbed their passes. The lake shone bright beneath the morning, but no one stood at its edge to watch the light move on the water. The plains spread wide and green, but no feet had ever crossed them, and no voice had ever called out across them. The world was made and lit and beautiful and utterly alone, and so the Maker set himself to the gentlest and most loving part of his work. He would make the people. He would fill the quiet country with men and women who would walk it and work it and lift their faces to his lights and live. The old tellers told this part in a way that is strange and lovely, and you do not have to understand it, only let it move through you like a dream. They said that Viracocha made the first people out of stone by the shores of the high lake. At a great and ancient place the people called Tiahuanaco, the Maker took the stone of the earth itself, and out of it he shaped the first human forms. He carved them carefully, the tellers said, each one whole and finished, men and women, old ones and young ones, even little children, and the small clay figures of the animals too. He made them in all the kinds and all the shapes that the people would one day be. He gave each its own form, its own face. He painted upon the stone the clothes that each kind of person would wear, the patterns and the colors by which one people would be known from another. And he set them there by the lake, finished and waiting, a whole silent nation carved in stone. But they were stone still, and stillness is not life. So the Maker, having shaped them, breathed upon them, or spoke to them, or simply willed it, and the stone became flesh, and the still figures stirred, and woke, and stood. Imagine that waking, in the soft light of the new world, the gray stone slowly warming into living skin, the painted patterns becoming real cloth, the carved eyes opening, dark and living, to see the bright lake and the gold sun and the blue mountains for the very first time, and the first breath drawn, and the first quiet, wondering look about a world made ready and waiting for them. The first people woken out of stone, standing by the lake in the morning of the world. And then the Maker did a thing full of care, a thing that shows how gently he loved what he had made. He did not keep all the people there together in one place. He meant for them to fill the whole wide country, every valley and every shore, the high cold plateaus and the warm green lowlands and the far edges of the land. And so he sent them, the old tellers said, down into the earth. He bid each people travel underground, through the dark beneath the mountains, and come up again far away, each in the place that was meant to be its home. from a spring or a cave or a hill or the shore of a river, each people would rise up out of the ground into the light in the country that would be theirs, and there they would live and build and belong. So the people came up all across the high country, each in its own place, blinking in the sun, and looked about at the mountains and the rivers and the wide sky, and knew that they were home. And the empty world began, at last, to fill with life. And the silent valleys began to hear the sound of voices, far off and near, calling and answering across the green. There is a tenderness in that part of the old story that is worth resting in a moment longer. The Maker did not make the people quickly or carelessly or all alike. He shaped each one, the teller said, with his own hands, giving each its own face and its own form, painting upon each the colors and the patterns of its own people, so that no one of them was forgotten or made without care. And he did not simply leave them where he made them to fend for themselves. He led each one home, to the valley or the shore or the high pasture that was meant for it, so that every people would have its own place in the world, a place to belong. That is a Maker who loved each thing he made, down to the smallest and the least. And the high country, ever after, was full of the places where the people had first come up into the light, and they remembered them and held them sacred, and knew that they were the children of the Maker who had shaped them out of stone and led them home. Let the gladness of that fill the quiet room around you now. The empty world made full, a Maker who shaped each person with his own hands, out of the stone of the very earth, and woke them gently into the light and led each one home. All of it slow and careful and full of love, the way the very best things are made. Now the Maker might have stayed by the lake, in the high heart of the world he had made, but that was not his way. For Viracocha loved the people he had made, and he wished to walk among them, to see them in their new homes, to teach them how to live well in the world, and to bless the long road ahead of them. And so the Maker took up his staff, and he turned his face toward the far horizon, and he began, slowly, to walk. This is the heart of the story, and the most restful part of it, so let yourself sink down into it now. Picture the Maker, the tall gray figure robed in white, with his long beard and his staff, setting out on foot across the wide, high country. He did not hurry. He did not stride. He walked slowly and steadily, the way one walks a very long road, with all the time in the world. Step after step, after quiet step, across the plains, along the lake shores, up over the high cold passes and down into the warm green valleys, the Maker walked, and the world unrolled slowly before him. The old teller said that he traveled in a particular way, from the high country down toward the great sea, taking a long road that led him through valley after valley and people after people. He walked the way a river walks, finding its slow way down through the land, patient and certain, in no hurry to reach the sea. And as he walked, he was not idle. Wherever he came to a place where people lived, he stopped and he taught them. Imagine the quiet of that walking. The wide, pale sky overhead, the sun crossing it slowly through the long day. The mountains standing all around in their blue distances. The thin, clean air and the great silence of the high country, broken only by the wind in the grass and the far cry of a bird. And through it all, the slow, steady figure of the Maker, walking, his staff striking the ground softly with each step, his white robe pale against the brown and green of the land, moving always onward toward the far line of the horizon. There is no haste in the picture and no strain, only the deep calm of one who walks along a certain road through a world he loves. And the high country he walked through was a country made for such slow walking, wide and open and luminous, with the long views falling away on every side, the blue ranges folding back and back toward the far horizon, the great pale sky arching over all. The light up there is clear and soft and clean, and it lies gently on the brown earth and the green slopes and the silver water, so that everything seems to glow faintly from within. To walk through such a country is to be soothed by it, mile after slow mile, the eye resting on far blue distances, the body settling into the long, easy rhythm of the road. The maker walked through it as through a thing he loved, unhurried, content. And the country received his slow steps the way still water receives a slow and gentle rain. Let your breath fall into the rhythm of that walking now, slow and steady and even. One quiet step, and then the next, and then the next. There is no destination you must reach tonight. There is only the walking itself, the long, soft road unrolling through the dark, and you drifting gently along it, deeper and deeper, with each slow and even breath. Let the Maker's pace be your pace. Let his calm be your calm. He walks, and you sink slowly toward sleep, carried along the quiet road through the high and luminous country of the night. So Viracocha walked the long road through the high country, and wherever he came to a people, he stopped, and he taught them how to live. He was, the old tellers said, a gentle teacher, patient and kind, and the things he taught were the good and simple things that make a life whole in the high country. He taught the people how to till the soil and plant the seed, how to read the seasons in the turning of the stars, how to know the time for sowing and the time for the harvest. He showed them how to coax the crops from the thin high ground, the maize and the potatoes and the bright grains, how to build the long stone terraces up the mountainsides so that even the steep slopes could be made to bear fruit. He taught them how to bring the water down from the high snows along channels of stone to drink and to grow their fields. He taught them, too, how to live together well, how to build their houses of stone against the cold high nights, how to weave warm cloth from the wool of the high flocks, how to speak gently to one another and to share and to keep the peace, and to care for the old and the young. He taught them which plants would heal and which would harm. He taught them the songs and the ways of honoring the lights he had set in the sky, the sun and the moon, and the stars that watched over them. He gave them, in short, everything they would need to make a good life in the world he had made, and he gave it freely, asking nothing in return but that they live well and kindly and at peace. And the old teller said that he often walked unknown. He did not always come as a shining god. Often, they said, he came as a quiet old traveler, a worn man in a plain white robe leaning on a staff, walking the roads like any other wanderer. And in some places, the people welcomed him and listened and were blessed, and in some places they did not know him and turned him away or mocked the old stranger on the road. But even then, the teller said, he was patient. He was slow to anger and quick to forgive, and where he could, he taught even those who had not welcomed him, and went on his way in peace, leaving good behind him wherever he passed. There is something deeply restful in that picture, and let it rest you now. A maker who walked the world not in thunder and glory, but quietly, on foot, as a humble traveler, teaching the good and patient things, asking nothing, blessing all he passed. He moved through the world the way the evening moves through it, softly, gently, leaving everything a little calmer and a little kinder than he found it. So the people learned, valley by valley, the good ways of living, and the high country grew rich with their fields and their flocks and their houses of stone, and the smoke of their hearths rose into the clear air, and the sound of their voices and their songs spread across the land. And the Maker walked on, slowly, always on, toward the far edge of the world, leaving behind him a country made whole and taught and blessed, a people who knew at last how to live. And think, as you drift, of how much patience there was in that teaching. The Maker did not give the people their good life all at once, finished and whole. He taught it to them slowly, a little at a time, the way a kind elder teaches a child, never hurrying, never harsh, going over the same gentle lessons as often as they were needed. How to plant, how to wait for the harvest, how to build, how to weave, how to share, how to keep the peace. He had no need to hurry, for he had all the time in the world, and he loved the ones he taught. And so the knowledge passed from him into the people slowly and surely, like water sinking into dry ground, and took root there and stayed, and was passed down from parent to child for long ages after the Maker himself had walked on and gone. Let yourself be one of them now, just for tonight. Let the Maker's teaching settle over you like a warm woven cloak. You know how to live. You have done the day's good work. And now the teaching is done, and the Maker walks on, and you may simply rest in the good life he leaves behind, warm and fed and safe in your house of stone, with the fields quiet outside and the stars coming out overhead. So the Maker walked on, valley after valley, people after people, blessing and teaching as he went, and always his long road led him gently downward out of the high country, toward the great sea at the edge of the world. Feel the long, slow length of that journey now. It was not a walk of days, but of a great while, an age of patient walking, the Maker moving steadily on through all the kinds of country there are, down from the high cold plateaus where the lake had lain, where the air was thin and the snow stood on the peaks, down through the middle valleys, green and warm, where the rivers ran fuller and the fields spread wide, down at last toward the low, warm lands near the coast, where the air grew soft and heavy and the great sea waited, vast and shining, at the end of all the land. He walked through morning after morning, the sun rising before him and crossing the sky and going down behind him, day after day after day, each one bringing him a little nearer to the sea. He walked through evening after evening, the stars he had made coming out overhead, the moon rising pale to light his road. He walked through the seasons, the dry and the wet, the cold and the warm, and the long road unrolled behind him, marked all along its length by the places he had blessed and the people he had taught. And the old tellers said that, as he came down toward the coast, he gathered to himself the last of his companions and his helpers, the lesser makers who had walked with him and shared his work, and together they came down at last to the very shore of the great sea. The journey that had begun in the dark water of the high lake, before there was any light at all, was coming now to its end at the edge of the wide, bright water at the bottom of the world. Picture the Maker at last upon the shore. The long road behind him, all of it walked, all of it finished. The high country, far away and far above, where the lake lay shining among the peaks. the whole wide land between, filled now with people and fields and flocks and the smoke of hearths and the sound of voices, all of it made and lit and taught and blessed by his slow and patient passing. And before him now, the great sea, stretching out to the far horizon, where the water met the sky, vast and shining and calm, the end of all the walking. And all along that long descent, the country changed slowly around him, the way the hours of a day change slowly, without your ever quite seeing the moment of the change. The thin, sharp air of the heights softened, little by little, into the warmer air of the valleys, and the warmer air of the valleys softened again into the heavy, soft air of the coast. The hard, bright snow of the peaks gave way to the green of the middlelands, and the green of the middlelands gave way at last to the pale gold of the shore and the wide, shining gray of the sea. The Maker walked through all of it slowly, never marking the change, simply going on, and the world unfolded itself before him, gently, one kind of country melting into the next, the way one breath melts into the next, the way waking melts gently into sleep. There is such deep peace in a long journey come to its end. Let that peace be yours now. The road you walk today is walked. The work you did is done. There is nothing more to climb tonight, no more distance to cross, no further to go, like the Maker upon the shore. You have come to the end of your long day's walking, and before you now lies only the wide, calm water of rest, stretching out soft and dark to the far edge of sleep. You may stop here. You may set down the staff. The walking is finished, and the sea is calm, and it is time, at last, simply to rest. And so we come to the gentle ending of this old story, the quiet leaving of the Maker, and as I tell it, let yourself sink down all the way toward sleep, for there is nothing left now but rest. The Maker stood upon the shore of the great sea, at the end of his long walk, and he looked back one last time upon the world he had made. He saw the whole high, luminous country stretching away and up toward the distant peaks, the lake shining far off where it had all begun. He saw the fields and the terraces climbing the mountainsides, the houses of stone, the flocks upon the high pastures, the people in all their valleys living the good life he had taught them. He saw the sun he had made crossing the wide, pale sky, and knew that when it set, the moon would rise, and then the stars, all the lights he had set in the dark in the beginning, turning slowly and faithfully over the world forever. And he saw that it was good, all of it, made and lit and filled and taught and blessed, and that it would hold, and that it no longer needed his hands. And so the Maker made ready to depart. The old tellers told it gently. They said that Viracocha walked out upon the water of the great sea, as easily as he had once risen upon the still water of the high lake, and that he walked away across the waves toward the far horizon, out into the west, until the distance and the bright water took him, and he was gone. He did not die, the teller said. He did not end. He only departed, walking away across the sea, out past the edge of the world, leaving the world behind him whole and good and able to stand on its own. And the people, the teller said, watched him go and remembered. They remembered the Maker who had risen from the dark lake before there was any light, who had filled the empty sky with the sun and the moon and the stars, who had shaped them out of the stone of the earth and woken them into the light and led them home. They remembered the gentle traveler who had walked the long road through their valleys, teaching them all the good ways of living, asking nothing, blessing all he passed. and they remembered how he had walked away at last across the sea. And they kept his memory, and honored his lights, and lived by his teaching for long ages after he was gone. There is a soft teaching folded into this old story, and you do not have to hold it. Only let it warm you as you drift. It is this: the Maker did his slow and patient work, and then he let it go. He made the world, and lit it, and filled it, and taught it, and then he walked away and left it to stand on its own, whole and good and needing him no longer. There is a deep rest in that. The making and the letting go were part of the same gentle love. He did not cling to his work. He finished it and blessed it and walked away into the west and let it rest. And so, tonight, may you set down all that you have made and done this day, and bless it, and let it go, and let yourself rest, knowing it will hold without you while you sleep. And notice, as you lie here in the dark, how the whole long story has been a story about rest. From its beginning to its end, it began in rest, in the deep still water of the lake, in the long patient waiting before the first light. It moved slowly and gently all through its making, the Maker never hurrying, never forcing, letting each thing come in its own good time. And it ended in rest, in the Maker's quiet departure across the calm sea, leaving the world finished and free and at peace. The whole story breathes slowly, like a sleeping thing. And tonight you are breathing along with it, slow and deep and easy, sinking gently down toward your own deep rest, carried on the same calm current that carried the Maker from the dark lake to the shining sea. So let your breath go slow and deep now, like the Maker rising once from the still dark water. Let your body grow heavy and calm, like the great peaks standing quiet in the night. Feel the steady ground beneath you, the Maker's good earth holding your rest. Feel the high sky over the roof above you, with the moon he made keeping its pale watch, and the stars he scattered turning slowly through the dark. The sun is set. The long road is walked. The Maker has gone away across the calm sea, and the world he left is whole and lit and safe, and holds you gently through the night. There is nothing left for you to do. The lake is still. The lights are lit. The people are home and resting in their houses of stone. The Maker has finished his walking and gone quietly across the sea. All of it is made, and all of it is good, and all of it is at rest, and so now may you. Let my voice grow faint. Let the words blur softly into the dark. Let yourself sink, slow and deep and warm, down past the last thin edge of waking, into the still dark water where everything began. Sleep now. The world is whole. The lights will hold their watch. Good night.